What's up, guys? This is our first episode of the Movement Partner Model podcast. Kind of our working title, but welcome. We're sitting down. We've done this a couple times, a little bit more informally. We're trying to add a little more structure to this.
Every time, just a little bit more.
Every time, we're just getting a little bit
small gains,
a little bit better. Small gains. That's the goal here. So,
there's a name for that. It's Kaizen.
Kaizen. Tell me about this.
It's ongoing, incremental, small improvements.
I'm about this.
Yeah, it's always just kind of just ratcheting up, dialing up, just a little bit at a time. Not expecting massive leaps, but just a little quarter turn each time. Get a little bit better.
A quarter turn, a couple steps forward, maybe a baby step back on a couple things, and small gains. I love it. Cool. Yeah. Partner Model Podcast. This is our working title.
Yep.
we'll find something.
We need a better name than that.
In the comments, someone give us a better name in the comments than this. What is it? You said maybe working title, as the title even.
No bad ideas.
No bad ideas.
No bad ideas.
If anyone knows what this should be, we're gonna be. I think us three are kind of core. We'll have other guests. Yeah. You know what I mean?
We got space.
We'll talk about business things, concepts. Obviously,
entrepreneurship,
it's a big part of our mortgage, but also so much more. Impact, all those things.
I love it. Lots to talk about. So that's no shortage of ideas, thoughts, and topics.
And so, without further ado, let's just start off with a quick what's on your mind. Justin, you want to kick us off today? What's on your mind right now?
Wow, that's a loaded question.
It might be.
My mind is racing. Lots going on, but you know what? Actually, I'm gonna talk about a email that was going around this week that was actually really cool. It was actually something I shared maybe a year or two ago, and it was the coach at Duke basketball, the women's basketball coach, and she was addressing her team, and I can't remember who sent this out the other day. It might have been Bill Hart, I believe.
Okay.
But anyway. He'd be a great guest on our show, by the way.
Oh, we got to get Bill on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But the essence of this video, and she's addressing her team, but it's about make hard easier. We don't. Life doesn't get easier. We just get better at doing hard things. So do hard better. Let me rephrase that. I shared this a couple years ago, but the idea about doing hard better, it's actually really relevant right now because this is a hard period of time, but. I'm actually not just thinking about business, but just life in general. What I'm dealing with today, and you guys know, I've got 3 kids at home. We've got we're navigating an intensely hard industry right now.
Yeah.
I've got my parents that are aging. I've got, just other factors. Just life is happening, but you can look and say wow, you got a lot on your plate, and I get that a lot. Wow, how do you do it? It's not a matter of how you just do it. You get better at doing the hard things. We talking about my parents, talking about my kids. I think the biggest thing I could say about making hard better or doing hard better, it's about letting go of the shit that doesn't matter. And I think that's where we tend to make things harder on ourselves. But the reality is you start caring less about insignificant things. And it really allows you to drill down on what's important. And when you think about it that way, the hard stuff is just, it becomes necessary. You do it, you get up, you put one foot in front of the other, you get it done. The minutia, the trivial stuff that you think was hard, that you thought was important, you let go of that. And I think that has a lot to do with how we progress and how we develop and how we we morph into a better version of ourselves. So. That was kind of my profound thought for the day, but
that's really nice.
Yeah,
that's such a good one.
Love that. That's fantastic. And for me, Nate. And Juice,
how you doing over there?
Great. And I've been thinking a lot about just a segue into purpose. And what Justin was talking about. I've found in talking to a number of people in our industry these days that they're kind of lost their purpose. They're trying to find their purpose. And though different people have varying ideas of what losing their purpose looks like, for me, what it comes down to is really just putting pen to paper, sitting down, staying focused, and really developing a plan that's not only reasonable, one that's going to get you where you want to go,
Yep.
and then also coming to grips with shit happens, right? In today's environment, in the mortgage business, and it's real important to give yourself a break now more than ever.
Yep.
But also find that purpose, put pen to paper, and I've done it myself. I struggled with it. I still struggle with it. But at the end of the day, for me, putting pen to paper really helped me identify what's important to me, to what you said, Justin, and really come up with a plan to make my life simpler, create less stress, and really define where I want to go. And you could say, I use the term from a friend I picked up, reset your compass to true north. What does that mean? Mm-hmm. It means exactly what it means is set yourself in a direction that's defined, attainable, and it's going to help achieve happiness and focus and contentness in your life. Really,
I hear a couple murmurings of a mutual friend of ours.
Yes,
I hear some Craig Davis.
Yes,
that was there.
I was going to bring him up too.
So
Craig.
I love referring to Craig. Craig has some awesome wisdom, and he has a way of saying things that really resonate and make sense. So it's cool to hear you say that. I'm curious for you, when you talk about extrapolating your purpose and putting pen to paper, how do you drill down on like kind of really fine tuning, restating like your why, so to speak, because that's really what you're talking about, right? Your purpose, your why.
That's right.
Yeah. So how are you just kind of brainstorming, thinking about things that are important to you, or how do you get to that true north, so to speak?
Yeah, well, it's a work in progress, and if I'm honest with myself, it's more like north by northwest, but it's getting there, right?
That's cool.
That said, I don't know that there is necessarily a way to get there, or the way to get there, rather. There's a way.
Yeah.
And for me, writing really gives me clarity, and whatever style you use, whether it's making a T-chart of pitfalls you want to avoid, or things that you
pros and cons,
likes
and dislikes.
You want to put it. I think it's important. The beginning is just sitting down, taking some quiet, focused time, and writing. And there's nothing, whatever, like we're doing right here. What's on your mind?
Yeah.
Start with what's on your mind.
Yeah.
And then develop from there. So for me, to answer your question, I guess I didn't, Justin, but I'm still trying to find my true north and my why. I'm still trying to define that, but I'm getting there closer every day.
Yeah. And
I feel like in the spirit of giving myself a break or cutting myself some slack, it's going to be static. You're going to have pitfalls, and it's those learnings that help you really find clarity, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love it. What about you, Nate?
Oh, my turn. Okay, I have some anxiety about telling you guys this. I made a mistake recently. So almost all of my monthly recurring payments are on like auto payment. You know what I mean? Like, this is how I set auto payment. Just take the money out. I'm going to make sure it's there. Please just take the money out. And the one that is not is my HOA payment. And so the other thing that you might know about me or might not is that I don't check my snail mail very often. And so I go to finally pay my HOA payment, and I in the back of my head, like, I know it's been at least a couple months, I'm like, I know I've forgotten about this for a couple months. And I go to make my payment, and I'm like blocked on the website portal, and I'm like, crap. Oh no, what have I done? And so I go and I check my mail, and inside of my snail mail is a letter that they've transferred my account to a collection agency.
Oh no.
Oh no, right? Like, I don't know what happens. I'm like, it's a couple months, it's a few months, I don't know what it is. It turns out it's been like 5 months, and I just wasn't paying attention. It's been like 5 months.
5 months
my
goes
life
by.
It just went by quickly. I don't know what to tell you. I made a mistake, and so anyways, I just yesterday freaking resolved this issue. Like, I had the funds. You know what I mean? Like, I could just like write the check, but oh my goodness, the just extra stress of like going to make your payment, and then you're like crap, like I can't just pay you the money I owe you. I don't want to pay you the money I owe you, please. And then I have to go into ChatGPT because I'm so freaking stressed about it to be like, what am I going to end up owing on this? It turns out collection companies, for pro tip for anyone, 10 to 20% is reasonable. 10 to 20% of what you owe is what the collection company is going to charge. I got on the lucky end. I'm closer to the 10% there, and this is resolved, hallelujah, but a small personal blunder, a learning experience for me personally, and moving forward, I'll be making that HOA payment on time. That's
no blemish to your credit, I hope.
We'll have to do a little check-in on that. That's a potential. ChatGPT brought that up. I haven't actually looked and see if it hurt me in any way. My credit luckily has no other derogatory marks on it, so if there's one on there, we'll be fine.
Things like set it and forget it, auto pay these days. It's fantastic, but it's not like, okay, Nate's yard hasn't been mowed for 5 months. He must be 5 months behind on his HOA payment. It's not obvious, right?
I know. I just... So,
Sorry, Nate.
A little learning experience. Thanks, boys. Initially, I was like, I don't want to tell anyone about this. This is so embarrassing. And then I'm like, you know what? For exactly that reason, let's talk about it on the podcast. We'll bring it up. We'll just spread the word. We'll tell everyone about it. Release the shame of it. We all make mistakes. Life is hard. There's a lot of things to keep track of. I missed track of one. I paid the price. All right. In other really excellent news, something awesome that happened this last week, mortgage rates hit 8% last week.
So I literally just got off. I just said literally. I'm sorry. My 14-year-old daughter says literally like every other word. Literally, she says it every other word.
Literally has become not literal anymore.
This is real in Webster's dictionary. Yeah.
Right.
Both are acceptable.
Anywho, sorry, I didn't mean to drop that there, but I was pricing this morning for somebody, and it was mind-blowing just seeing, scroll. We're down in the upper 7s, low 8s, pricing alone, like, it's just bizarre. It's a wild world we're living in right now. When I first got into this business, rates were in the 7s.
Yeah.
We had a little dip to 6. Which was exciting.
Yeah.
Back to 7, and then it crept up to 8 for just a minute. This was like 2000, 2001 maybe.
Okay.
And then, 2002, we're doing all these refis. We would get, one of our past clients would call in or whatever, and it'd be an 8%. We'd get excited. We were like, this, if they would call them snowmans, because it looks like a little snowman. So we're back in Snowman Territory right now. Which is crazy because I will tell you, I think we can all expect at some point, and whether it's next year or the year after, we're gonna dip back into hopefully a reasonable 7-6% consistency. I'd love to see 5. I think we all would, but we're gonna have another snowman season, and we're gonna be melting snowmen.
Just a fun little snowman on there. It's not a high interest rate. Just a fun snowman,
it's a snowman
for you.
Yeah.
Just enjoy the winter.
We should definitely market that.
Would
you like the movement snowman?
Would you like a snowman on your interest rate? It's fun. It's seasonal.
If I had a nickel for every time I heard, well, 5's the new 4.
Yeah.
6 is the new 5, Jerry.
I know.
7's the new 6, Jerry. And now 8. 8's the new 7. So,
we've heard a lot of that this year.
We have.
We've heard every
You know
number.
what? I'll still stand behind that real estate is still one of the best investment vehicles.
Hands
so
down.
8%, fine.
Yeah.
Still a great investment.
I love it.
It's better than your 100% interest rate you're paying on your rental.
That's right.
Truly, and always will be.
Yeah.
One of the I'm on this group on Facebook, this new loan officer Facebook group, and it gets a lot. It gets a whole range of different questions on there. But one of them was like, what's for an LO that needs to leave the industry, what's a job that we might have good skills at? And someone posted this meme. I just thought it was so funny. I had to share it with you guys. So it's the meme of Homer Simpson, and we'll pull this up on the screen.
Yeah.
Just kind of disappearing into the hedge.
Solar panel.
It's like real estate agent, Here he is, mortgage officer, real estate agent,
right.
Disappears into the hedge, pops back out, solar panel salesman.
I've seen some interesting ones as of lately, but not solar panel salesman yet. But we do live in Washington, so I don't know how big solar panel sales are here, but I guess Southwest and California and Arizona, it probably might be an actual real thing.
Yeah, and now that you mention it, so yesterday on my drive up. I was just noticing how many solar service vehicles there were on I-5.
Yeah.
I mean, several. So
A lot of the realtors are going.
Could be a booming industry right now, right? Getting all that hot talent for real.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, man. When people leave one industry, they got to go somewhere else. So I don't know what's the new hot thing right now, but I guarantee you we're gonna hear about it.
I think
people can drive a lot of interest and buzz just by being interested in having something that's buzzworthy. It doesn't necessarily have to support it, carry it, and we've seen that before.
Yeah.
People love. People are interested in interesting people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think
no matter what you sell.
Yeah.
loan officers sell mortgages. You know, if you're a salesman, you can sell anything, you know. So if anyone is watching this, I mean, bro, you go sell. You know what I mean? Find it. If mortgages aren't the hot ticket for you at this exact moment, keep your licenses active. Go sell something. You know how to sell. Solar panels. I don't know what it is, but find something to sell. You're a salesperson. This is a skill. You have this skill. You've been working on this skill. You have time invested in it.
Yeah.
Go find something to sell. I promise you're gonna find something here.
I love what you just said there, actually, about interesting people. That was actually it's funny you brought that up. That was actually something I was gonna even possibly bring up today. But it is as a recruiter, Jerry, you have to be interesting. As a recruiting leader, I have to have some sort of interesting thing about me for people to even stay engaged. So. It's actually a really interesting thing because I think it's an art, you know. It really is. Like you can't fake it. You have to have substance. You have to have depth. You have to do things. You have to be able to lead a conversation. You have to be able to ask meaningful questions and have meaningful dialogue. But in order to do that, you don't just wake up and I mean I guess some people innately are just interesting. There's definitely some wild ones out there that people can just you know, put a quarter in them and they go. But how do you stay sharp, stay interesting?
Well, this is where my posture changes and I sit up straight because I really like this topic. No,
I love it too.
Know, I think, Justin, Nate, you know, what it comes down to for me is just I love people. And I feel like I say this over and over again, like I'm trying to convince somebody that I really do love people. But I love people. I'm genuinely interested in all types of people.
Yep.
I learn from people. I love soaking up different, views on life, what they do for a living, just everything about them. So for me, that's what keeps me going is people.
Yep.
And so, and like some people say, I learn something new every day, or this job keeps me learning continuously. Like I've never met a person that's alike, right?
Yeah.
It's just like putting on a different pair of shoes. It's you're getting something new all the time, and that's the beauty of it.
Yeah. I don't know if you realize it just because you're you, but yeah, I think one thing about you do love people, but you're very personable. Yeah. You're open.
Thanks.
You're allow yourself to be vulnerable, which makes you more relatable. But I think those are all good qualities.
Jerry, you really listen when I talk, which is really nice. You know what I mean?
Gosh,
you sometimes pull in a couple personal things. I'm like, Jerry was actually paying attention, and like, look at him, like checking back in on me a couple weeks later. Like,
we won't show her this video.
No, you actually that is something I think, and genuinely you do. You follow up on things. You remember details. Mm-hmm. You ask questions. Somebody's going through a hard time. You don't kind of like, oh, sorry to hear that, and move on. You
call back in 2 weeks and ask
check
about it.
Hey, how is this thing going?
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. What I've seen from you, because I've worked with you now for Nate, what's in juice years? I always add years to it.
In juice years, we're up to 10.
Are those like dog years or
almost at next week?
It's just one more every time he says it.
Juice years.
You just add one more.
But Jerry, it's been 10 years, I think, since we first met.
Yeah.
And I will say, like, I've seen you work with a myriad of different managers. You've recruited for a lot of different branches of people. So this is just, I guess, the $1 million question. You've got super awesome manager, really interesting, really dynamic, and then you've got the other, someone that doesn't maybe possess a lot of those skills, that maybe a great leader manager, but maybe doesn't come across great in a meeting. how do you navigate through something like that? Because that is a challenge. I mean, it's like, you got a really dynamic recruit. You want to put them in front of somebody, and then they just get underwhelmed, with the wrong personality. How do you work through something like that?
I think that identifying somebody's strong suit. So it's not that so and so isn't good with recruiting, or you can't put a recruit in front of them. It's that, what are their strengths? Play to their strengths. And so I guess what you learn throughout experience and time is that you really learn to highlight and accentuate what people's strengths are.
Sure.
And maybe and also have an understanding what the fit is, right?
Yep.
And so I think that's really important, because I mean, you don't want to pair somebody with someone that's completely the opposite. That's just not good, right?
Yeah.
But I've had a great deal of learnings behind that, and that more than anything is just understand, play to people's strengths, and learn how to pair people with like-minded people.
Is there some coaching you have to do with that as well, with some of those leaders?
Yes and no. I mean, in our industry, there are several people that are, I guess, just kind of not closed off, but maybe not as willing to learn and take pointers as others. And there are some people that are highly coachable. So it's just, it's kind of a variety, really.
Yeah.
All right, I've got some interesting data here. So in Q2 of 2023, this is according to Ingenious, the number of valid LOs fell to 89,000. That's well below the high of 181,000 achieved in Q3 of 2021. So really, since 2021, we're at like half of the loan officers, active loan officers. And the average since 2019 has been 146,000. So even since 2019, we're about 50,000 below that average, which is wild. The other really interesting thing here is that since Q2 of 2022, we've lost about 20,000 loan officers every single quarter. Wow.
So I'll say this. I think we had even discussed this before, Nate. We're seeing a massive shift in our business.
Yeah.
The shift was happening before 2020. We were starting to see things tighten up a little bit. I think what's happening is, there's a number of factors. Technology has played a part in that. I think not necessarily that it's replacing salespeople, but it's enabling a really good salesperson to be more effective, to be more efficient. And then you couple that with the fact that the business is down. I mean, we're projecting a fraction of what the volume that we had intended, 2-3 years ago. It's crazy, and there's just, the business just isn't there. There's not enough deals to go around. You can't pull a transaction out of the air. I mean, there are business needs, or there's personal needs, financial needs that will occur naturally, whether that's somebody buying a home, buying a second home, doing the debt consolidation. There's all these things that are going to happen, but like you can manufacture need based on opportunities where there is somebody that maybe has, again, a debt consolidation loan. That's something that you can position somebody into, but the reality is there's just, the business just isn't there right now. It'll come back.
Yeah.
We don't know when, but I don't think we have not hit the floor yet.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so.
I mean, I know a lot of people that are hanging on by a thread, and they're struggling, and I legitimately feel for them. These are people that care deeply about, I've worked with for most of my career, that I know are struggling. They're having to check in the mirror every day, like, am I cut out for this?
Yeah.
Is this business for me? And it's tough. We talked about the changing careers, the solar panel sales. I don't mean to laugh, but like, the reality is that there's going to have to be some hard decisions made for some people. The strong will survive. This is Darwinism at its finest.
Yeah.
The herd is getting thin, but like, those that are running hard and fast and strong, and that are getting up and working an extra hour, they're doing the extra steps, they're doing the little things, and they're being really disciplined about those little things. you are what you repeatedly do, right? If you repeatedly get up and do your plan, be really organized, have a system for follow up, contact people, reach out to past customers. That's the biggest, I think, asset most people have right now is if you have a database of customers that you've been working for a while, you can fall back on that. They're not going to call you though.
No,
you got to call them.
It's up to you.
You got to pick up the phone. But if those that are doing that, they're in the front of the herd. Those in the back are going to get. I hate to say it sounds bad, but they're going to get picked off, and it's eventually it will catch up to them.
I think something I see here is that there's actually just a ton of opportunity in this, even though it is like, it's, I've seen some people like joke about this, but like literally half of your favorite real estate agents have just lost their preferred lender,
yes.
right? So everyone's going to be working with different people. There is a huge shakeup, and there's going to always be opportunity in that shakeup. I think that's something we've done well at Movement is, they realized there was a lot of things happening. We went into growth mode, we went into technology mode, and so there's a lot of value in understanding where the business is today and actually playing into that instead of playing away from it, the fear and the desperation and all that, which is for real and it's there, but there's also all of that juicy opportunity for you, that new opportunity.
Yeah, you've got right now you've got only so much of a pie, right? There's just the pie is the pie, but there are people actively out there fighting for your customer.
Yeah.
That number is shrinking though, as you said. So there is a tremendous opportunity. Those that do hang on, that get to the other side of this, are going to be sitting in a much better position because they're going to have less competition. So there is that on the other side of this, but it still doesn't change right now. Today.
No.
You've got to fight for relevancy. If you're waiting for your phone to ring, if you're waiting for something lucky to happen, if you're not actually doing something about it, it's not going to do it for you. Nothing's going to just magically show up. You're not going to be, inundated with a bunch of business if you're not out trying to fight for it. Period. End of story.
Yeah,
Go for it.
I love what you just mentioned there, Justin. And for me, and the first thing I think of when I think of people that are struggling in our industry is that, okay, so you've got a sheet of ice, you find yourself on a sheet of ice, all your weight's in one spot. How do you avoid going through the ice? Spread out, right?
Yeah.
If you don't already know this, then feel bad for you, but you spread out, right? Otherwise you break through the ice, you sink and you die.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds kind of morose, but my observation is that the originators that are successful in today's market, they're diversified.
Amen.
They never they never put their eggs in one basket. They never put their eggs into just focusing on their refinance clients and not keeping in touch with their past database of clients. I think the modern day originator is highly diversified, not only in, building relationships with different people that they can serve and help and in return serve them. So now diversification is so important, but I think those that have focused on that diversification piece, let's call it 2020, now they are the ones that are steady. Steady is it.
We were speaking recently with some other groups, and just again talking about diversification. I think a big area of improvement for most loan officers is most of them are single source referral partners. They only work with real estate agents. And to your point, diversifying, spreading out, getting lower, getting wider, tackling tax planners, attorneys,
estate planners.
Yeah. There's more. Financial advisors. There are a lot more referral sources than just realtors.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We are back from just a brief intermission here, and I'm just going to touch on work with what you've got, because the cameras that we're using to film this, they're capping us out at 30 minutes. We have a forced intermission on here. I'm just going to acknowledge it. You know what I mean? We're moving forward. We're making a podcast. This is a limitation we have right now, and we're just gonna call it a brief intermission. We're gonna hop back into it. We all got some coffees, right?
We did.
Yeah.
Jerry, you warmed up a little bit with your vest.
I did. Nice and toasty.
Nice and toasty now, and we're ready
Can't
to
see my
continue.
breath anymore. That's good.
I know. Y'all just like I've got a couple things here, but y'all
We
just
should
kind
pay
of
our heating bill.
we should. Oh my gosh, we probably shouldn't like wait 4 or 5 months. Is what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Like that's probably too long. Y'all just kind of jump back into the gotta be interesting conversation. I don't know if you want to. You have a couple more points on that you want to say real quick?
Yeah, I and this is my personal experience in life. People tend to be attracted to people that are interesting.
Yeah.
So if you're in sales and you're not doing anything to be interesting, you're going to struggle.
You're gonna struggle.
So I asked the question earlier, but to me, it's really comes down to a few things, man. I think number one, you gotta show up. I think that's important. You gotta be interested, meaning you gotta show a genuine interest in your customers or the people that you're engaging with, and then you gotta be interesting. And it's not that hard, but if you're not doing anything, if you're just an order taker, you're screwed. AI will replace you.
Yeah.
People will choose to work with you if they like you and they find you someone they want to be around. So read a book, read a newspaper,
Do something interesting.
Yeah.
Be a part of a team or something.
Yeah.
I think to be interesting, you have to do interesting things, and those interesting things are going to connect you with people.
Yeah.
It's really interesting where people find their leads and how they get them. You kind of triggered me into one of my favorite lead stories ever. I did a musical 3 or 4 years ago, and the producer of this musical is a real estate agent, and he cast my now very close buddy Dawn in this show, and Dawn is a real estate investor. And so 4 years since this show, I think those two have closed at least 2 properties together.
That's awesome.
That only would have happened because he, this real estate agent is producing a literal musical.
Yeah.
That a real estate investor likes doing musicals, and they connected this way, and now Don wouldn't go to anyone else. He's going to close with his buddy that directed him in the show. They have this really close connection with, and it's multiple deals now. So
finding that common interest. I know, Jerry. We at one point as a team, this was back at our old place, but we did that book Scrappy. Remember that?
Yep.
But I think one of the things we talked about is kind of and I don't remember if it was 5 by, what was it? 3 by 5.
Yeah, the
Is it 3 by 5?
it's the
It was
5 by 3 rule.
5 by
I
3.
believe. It take
Yeah. But just go find
great.
something about the person you're going to talk to before you talk to them. Do your research. Find out a little bit of it. Then you can ask questions and find a common ground to connect with. Because once you're connected, then you can go a level deeper. And that's where you can really develop a relationship with somebody. Is once you have some common ground, some common likes, just understanding where they're from, where they went to school, family makeup, maybe it's a religious background, maybe grew up at private school, whatever it is. But when you identify those things and you can relate, then it makes it so much easier to be interesting, to be interested, to ask good questions, to find out more. I think there's a lot to be said about connecting with people. You have to connect with people. At the end of the day, we are all at risk of being replaced by artificial intelligence. We know it. I don't want to sound morbid and Skynet's coming to with the robots and shit. But the reality is
Terminator.
Yeah, Terminator. The reality is we're fighting for relevancy, and to be relevant and to be heard, you have to go the extra mile, and you got to connect with people. People will fall back on their relationships. When all else fails, people fall back on the relationships. But the relationships will only be as strong as you let them and you grow them, and you got to do that by putting in the effort, by doing the homework, and by caring, by asking the right questions, the right things.
Yeah, and if you don't think you're interesting enough to bring up conversation, then ask a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Learn about somebody else. You'll find something.
Yeah.
You'll find something that brings the two of you together.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not in the real estate business. We're not in the finance business. We're in the people business.
That's right.
So it is a people
100.
industry. We're dealing with human beings. You can't forget that.
We have the number one core value for movement is our success will be measured by our relationships. Right?
It's huge.
Huge. It's a core value of the company. We love it.
Yeah.
Let's jump into some raving fans. I have one ready. Do you guys have a raving fan ready? I've got one ready. I mean,
Tee it up.
he came up earlier. Craig Davis, dude. I'm such a raving fan. Such a raving fan. Shift happens. I don't know if this is literally his phrase that he's he's the first person that I saw using this. Shift happens. There's this huge shift going on, and beyond Craig just actually being an insightful, enlightened human, but he's really been hustling,
Yeah.
Craig has really embraced the shift happens. If you've been paying attention to his social medias, if you've been paying attention to what he's been putting out there, he has really stepped outside of his comfort zone. He told me maybe a year ago, he's like, I know I really got to get into the videos. Craig Social today, he's spending his time, he's making the thoughts, he's making this content, and then he's getting someone else to put some subtitles on there for him, our close buddy Katrina Orlando. And I'm just such a raving fan. Craig, keep it up, bro. We're with you. Keep it up. I love seeing this. I love this hustle you're on, and I'm a raving fan.
So let me take that and run with it, because I will tell you, man, Craig Davis is someone I admire deeply. He's a dear friend, mentor, former colleague. We've been through a lot together. We've been through the trenches together. It's really cool to see what Craig is doing right now, stepping out of his comfort zone of being, always being in the as a manager, now stepping out and coaching. He launched his new coaching business, Send Experience.
Yeah.
Which is exciting. Craig has infinite wisdom. He's really good at boiling things down, breaking things down with people. He's one that will get getting down to the real brass tacks of what's happening with somebody. And he cares a lot. But one thing I just love, Craig has a lot of isms. We actually started our own little, back in the day, we had our own little word sheet of isms. One of my favorite ones is "smells like bacon," and I keep seeing that one pop up, and that actually happened.
Explain that to me.
Fun story. Okay, this is the truth to it, but there's two sides, and there always is, right?
Yeah.
So I'm during COVID, I would put my AirPods in, and I would go I would do massive walks, and I think we were also doing all these step challenges too. So I'm gonna go murder the step challenges, because I would literally.
You're always an overachiever.
I would do the walking meetings with everyone. I just it was a great way to do it. Actually, some of my team would do it with me. We'd queue up together and we'd go on walks, even though we'd be in different cities and have these meetings. Well, I'm doing one of my walking meetings with Craig, and I'm walking through some neighborhood, and he's telling me something, and he's sharing some really profound, awesome idea to me, and at the same token, I'm walking by a house that's cooking bacon. And you can smell, when you smell breakfast in the morning, you're like, oh my God, it smells like breakfast. Yeah. Well, I just said to Craig, it smells like bacon, and he thought I was referring to his brilliant idea, which it worked out as a double entendre. It was brilliant. So that's where Smells Like Bacon was born, and it's just cool to hear that kind of come up again and again. So it was just this beautiful mistake that turned into something real. It smells like bacon. It's when something really awesome happens, or you it smells like bacon. It smells great.
When things are materializing, we see it coming together. We're like, we got bacon coming soon.
We had a lot of fun with foodisms, and bacon was definitely one of our favorite things to talk about. But anyway, man, I'm beyond excited and stoked for what Craig's doing. Would love to get him up here.
Craig in the seat with us.
He would be great to visit. I know he was with our boy Tim.
Visited Tim. I know. I'm a little jealous.
Yeah.
I'm a little jealous.
They share a little bit closer proximity. It might take a little bit more to get Craig up here. But honestly, I keep working in my head. I'm like, how do we pull Craig into something? I'd love to get him out, even if it's just meeting with our team or on a Zoom call. Just getting some unadulterated, unfiltered Craig. Is always good.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Any other Raving fans want to bring up before we move on?
Well, I mean, it's not gonna be 2 out of 3 here with supporting. No, but
Were you thinking Craig
I'll add
too?
to that, and then I'm going to give somebody else a shout out. But no one talk about overcome adversity and just rise to the occasion, man. That is one awesome human being. So,
Yeah.
Craig Davis is for sure. But I do want to give Maddie and Maria a shout out.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
two are the glue that bind. We have an awesome team building event today, Murder Mystery. So
Maria
those two are
D'Ambrosio and
just
Madison Kingman.
They're like a
Yeah.
symphony orchestrating everything behind the scenes. So I'm thankful for them.
They are incredible. Yeah, I love them to death. And they actually do a great job, but they care a lot, and
Yeah.
they bring a lot of ideas to the forefront. They're connected with a lot of different people and leaders in the company, which is awesome because you get just a varying degree of perspectives, which I love. But those two are awesome, and we're really lucky to have them on our team.
Those two constantly underestimate their value and worth. Whenever, like, I keep hearing, like, whisperings of things going on in, like, other divisions, and I'm like, wait, it's literally Maddie and Maria that did that? Like, wait, like, fill me in on this. Give me all this goodness. Like, y'all, I feel like, gosh, they're just always doing really, really cool things, and they're so in it, dude. They're just so engaged with everything happening. Yeah, great one to bring up. Mega raving fan of Maddie and Maria, and the teamwork between them together is also just so strong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like if I can message either one, and I just have unbelievable confidence that this will get care and attention and like thorough thoughtfulness when in execution. So
Yep, agreed.
yeah. Let's jump into this. Jerry, 90 days at Movement Mortgage. Congratulations.
Thank you.
One full quarter
That feels
into
good.
it.
Yeah.
How are you doing? Thoughts, takeaways, feelings?
You haven't aged that much.
I haven't.
You
I
look
know.
almost the same.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, listen, the company is, it's deep. I guess that's the first word that comes to mind. There's a lot of depth to this company, and what I mean by that is everything from the company's vision and just purpose is really something to fall in love with. You know, from the impact lending. Truly serving the people in its communities.
Yep.
And so I think that's the first thing that comes to mind. The second is what an elite group of leaders. I mean, this is like the cream of the crop here in the industry. You know, some of the best, most experienced leaders in the industry. So really fortunate. And the best thing about that is they're all accessible.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had immediate response from anyone I've reached out to, and then everyone's willing to really lend a hand here and help. They help show me the ropes. So a ton of resources that are accessible. For me also, just the overall culture, which exemplifies the true meaning of culture in our industry, is everyone's a stakeholder at this company. And that really is my mic drop there, because it you can feel it. It translates into business going smoother, things getting done, alignment with goals and purpose. I use that word purpose a lot. So that to me, I guess first and foremost, is something that I'm overwhelmed with happiness about the company.
I love everything you just said, and I know it's true because I've experienced it myself. Purpose-driven organization, absolutely, more than any company I've ever worked for. Yeah, it's really cool, and I echo the same thing. Our leadership at the top is second to none. Mm-hmm. So,
and I forgot to mention EOS also, amazing platform.
Let's jump into that.
So cool.
EOS. Well, I mean, what is that? I don't know.
Yeah, so entrepreneurial operating system, and what it is it's a culmination of different pieces of technology, if you will, all kind of working together, maintaining this symbiotic relationship, for lack of better terms. And one of the things that we use for our team is 90, and 90 is part of that EOS platform. And 90 really helps us set very specific goals, and goals that are measurable, and so it really helps us as a team stay on task.
Yep.
And we have these weekly meetings that we discuss our rocks, which are set by each of us in 90, and it is the best thing for staying on task and staying focused. I talked about that earlier, staying focused. Wow, can't say enough about 90.
I love being accountable to a team. I'm personally I'm not great at doing things for myself all the time. We talked earlier, I can't freaking pay my HOA payment, you know what I mean? Because I had to do it for myself. if I had to make that payment for you, Jerry, like, it would have been done, like, right away. But, like, so, yeah, it's nice to have the accountability of the team where even if the task that I need to take care of isn't necessarily, like, super relevant to what you're doing, at the same time, like, I have to tell you each week whether I'm on track with this or not. I'm held accountable by you guys. And so I know that I'm just that much more likely to accomplish the goals that I'm setting because, like, if I'm not, I'll have to tell you guys on Monday, crap, I'm, like, off track and I'm, let's move the due date way back now. So,
Well, the whole concept of 90, as I've learned, it's a 90-minute meeting. That's where the name comes from. If you didn't figure that out, I did. It took me a while after. So maybe,
Well, is that what it means?
The 90-minute meeting, yeah.
But it is the perfect meeting format. I think that's kind of where that whole idea came from, and it structures from how you start the meeting to how you end the meeting and everything in between. And like you said, aligning really ultimately to the big goals, the rocks, like the things that you're doing, the on time, the things that you're gonna do and working on the business, as well as doing all the things you have to do in the business, the day to day, the minutia, the nitty gritty, the emails, the little fires that pop up. You still got to address those too, but it's a really good format to kind of package all up together. And I love that we do that. I love seeing your perspective, being that you and I have worked together closely for a long time now, and at different organizations. It really is a game changer, and I love. We just had our quarterly check-in with our whole team a couple weeks ago, and it just elated me to see like how happy, how productive that meeting was. I think everyone came out of that meeting feeling really good, and it speaks volumes to our team, no doubt about it. But like having that structure has really galvanized this team.
I get a lot of euphoria checking off those boxes. I'm like, because you check it off, it gets to the line through it. I'm like, that is done, boys. We have finished this. Like, celebrate time.
Endorphins. Bring it. Yeah.
We have a really good team that this system makes us great, and that's I couldn't say enough good things about EOS. So really glad that we, as an organization, subscribe to it. Glad we do as a team. I pretty strongly believe that we're one of the super users at the organization, and I love that. I want to own that title, and I want to continue to beat that drum. That it's a game changer, and those that aren't using this system are missing out. And I would love to help evangelize that piece down more to the rest of the organization, even some of our branches and stuff, because I know it would do wonders for some of these groups to actually help them, whether it's going out and prospecting and getting more business, or just running a smoother branch, dealing with file flow and just efficiencies and all that. There's just a million things you can address, but I think it works really well for our team.
Agreed.
Let's jump into this one. Jerry, you sent me this message about this, and I have a lot of questions on it, and I was just going to save them for now. But what is the entrepreneur concept?
That's a great question. No, it's listen, being an entrepreneur today involves being a stakeholder. I said it before. So what being a stakeholder means in the entrepreneurial concept is that you have a leader that is running their own business, somebody that is a disruptor. Okay, they're disrupting the way everyone else is doing business in a positive way, right? They're figuring out, they're being resourceful, figuring out ways to conduct business in a difficult market, in an ever-changing market, right? They're also, they're leaders, they're networkers, they're relationship builders, they're financial managers of their own business. There's a lot that goes into being the entrepreneurial concept. And more than anything, and I think it goes back to people, right? They're running their own business because they're not selfish. They want to help grow other people, coach them, develop them, and they genuinely take interest in helping others and serving the people that they are doing business with. So that to me is what that concept is about.
You literally just identified the exact target person of people we look for in our branch. I mean, almost to a T.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's like everything you said. That is the epitome of my target audience, the people I want to connect with, the people that we want to wrap our arms around and help grow and develop, because we know that those are good bets to place. Those are people that are going to go the extra mile, that are going to have an impact that's going to be bigger than themselves. Like I said, those are good strategic bets for us as an organization, as a channel. Entrepreneurs are different. They're not 9-to-5ers. They're not. They don't wake up and wait for somebody else to do something for them. They do it themselves. They grab hold of shit and go. And that's the type of people that I mean, as you know, those are the people we're attracted to, because those are the people that are going to move the needle, especially right now, especially in this market, especially in this industry that is changing. It's changed a lot in the last 10 years. In the last 20 years, it's changed dramatically.
Yeah.
In the next 5 years are going to be crazy, and the strong will survive. But like, I think the nice to have versus need to have characteristics of what made you a successful loan officer, again, you gotta be different. You gotta have a little bit more in your tank. You gotta be willing to go that extra mile. You can't expect that, at 5 o'clock every day that you could just shut it down. It doesn't work that way. You gotta be available. You gotta have something to offer, and you gotta be willing to do the work. You gotta have that network. You got to have the work ethic. You got to have the smarts to balance your business. Make sure that it operates. It is a financial business after all. It's got to be profitable. So all those factors, and that is the essence of an entrepreneur.
Yeah, and it reminds me of I think some originators look for the new opportunity, but in the entrepreneurial concept really embodies that, not only the new opportunities but the renewal of opportunities, right? And so they're always thinking of better ways to conduct their business, and more effective ways to network and reach out and help people. And conduct their business.
Yeah, a good salesperson will work hard to look for opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
An entrepreneur will make opportunities.
Well said. Yeah.
I think the takeaway from that is that just like the actual part about it is that this is just a mindset that it's time to adopt, right?
Yeah.
Like, you just have to adopt this mindset. If this isn't how you think about yourself right now, if you're a loan officer that just sees a lot of walls in your way, you're gonna have a really hard time. But if you can see like the holes in the wall or how to get around those walls, I mean, there's a lot more opportunity for you.
Yeah.
And I think that's the entrepreneur, is that you don't just see the wall, you see that you could walk around the building. You know what I mean?
Creativity matters.
Yeah, creativity right now in a lot of different ways. You're just forced to be creative, and you might not think about it as like stereotypical creativity to like think of calling in this resource to make this happen over here, but yeah, it's not quite art, but it is creativity. Maybe it is an art, I don't know.
Yeah, as we've seen this business shift a ton, and it is cliche, we've heard the cliche to run a business within a business. That's really what the mortgage industry provides a lot of people. You give them a platform to run their business, their individual Jerry Ray mortgage company inside of the Movement mortgage brand, but in order to really embody that, it's not just showing up isn't going to do it for you. You gotta find opportunities. You gotta get creative. You gotta be willing to fail a little bit too, because you gotta test boundaries. You gotta challenge the status quo, because things are constantly changing. What got you here won't get you there.
Yeah.
I've said that before. I'll say it again. It's the truth. Like, it's a different market today.
There's an art to, God, just so interesting. Because as a loan officer, there's certain things you just have to take. You know what I mean? Compliance, RESPA, UDAP. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying like go around these things. That's like, if anyone's heard that, please, oh my gosh, no. Like, there's a lot of walls that have to be walls, but at the same time, like, yeah, you have to really get creative with this. Yeah. I just
Speaking of walls, can we break the fifth wall here?
Let's break the fifth wall. Yeah. Oh, hello over there.
Hey there.
Is there a wall right there?
What wall?
Cool. We have just a few more minutes here. Let's. I'm just gonna ask if we have any closing thoughts. I've got a couple more things maybe we can get into, but is there any closing thoughts? Anything that's come up that we want to touch back up on, or something that I don't know. Anything like that going on? I'm just gonna pause at that. I'll just leave that in your hat. But maybe we jump into what are the challenges that we're facing recruiting in this environment today? That's something we haven't really talked too much about yet.
Yeah, no, that's, and gosh, I could spend an entire podcast talking about just that. But I think for look, the people that are business owners, they're really feeling it right now in our industry, the branch leaders and so on. So it's difficult these days to manage costs and expenses with where volume's at. And I think that is probably the number one challenge today, in my opinion, is meeting that metric to be able to operate a branch and do it. And I don't even want to say at a high level. I mean, just to meet the threshold.
A profitable branch
somewhat
right now.
Profitable. So that, in my opinion,
Profitable might be breaking even right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's really close to my heart right now, because I have these discussions day in, day out. Talk to some wonderful leaders, extremely talented, but in certain cases, it's difficult for them to keep their heads above water.
It's a survival mentality right now,
Yeah.
for sure. And that requires a different skill set and a different mindset to survive. You can't. I know it might even be contrary to what we're saying, but the reality is everything we're talking about right now is intended around, hey, this is a tough market. We all know it. Beat a dead horse. But to survive right now, it is some of it is stepping out of your comfort zone and trying to establish more business. You're down 70%, but if you're down 60%, you're better off. So how do you gain that extra 10%? So you're finding that a little bit of efficiency gets you back to even. And here's the other factor, and I'll say this with like every bit of passion. We're all work, go hard, do all this, do all that, of course, but the reality is too, you got to find balance. Got to find balance right now. All work and no play makes Jerry a dull boy, or Jack or whomever. But
Yeah.
the reality is you got to find balance. You got to find a way to just keep some harmony in life.
Yeah.
I just think on that note, find balance. Maybe that'll be what we take off for next time. And we're trying to make a monthly cadence of doing these.
Yeah.
And I think this is take one in the books.
Cool.
Yeah. Thanks, Movement Podcast. There we go.
Yeah,
Good.
it's awesome.